Welcome back. I'm Matt from FerMentors, and today's episode is going to be here at Sitta Brew Hub. And they're gracious enough to have us over and talk about some of the important things in the homebrew community and what's important to them at the homebrew shop. Today we're drinking my raw ale. So be on the lookout for that video on Jaggers Brewing Co. Be sure to stop by Sitta Brew Hub. It's on tap right now for the month of September at the guest tap. So here's Dean and Kevin Seta. So, so guys, you want to talk what's special about the guest tap?
Yeah, so it's something that we introduced last month, and it's just a good opportunity for homebrewers to showcase their beers. I mean, we often get samples. It's shared amongst a few people, but any homebrewer just really enjoys what they do, really enjoys sharing their beer. So this gives them an opportunity. So every month we are uh, having a special guest appearance and allowing them to have one of our taps to have their beers on. It's going really well. I'm excited to have your beer on tap this
Well,
month.
y'all go ahead and take a drink and let's talk about it for a minute.
It's so interesting. It's
It's not bad for like a 15-point beer, right?
15-point beer.
Yeah.
No, it's got such a great mouthfeel to it. You mentioned it fermented really well down to .002,
Yeah.
but does not taste dry at all.
Yeah.
Like,
First time I've ever had a raw ale, and I was a little skeptical at first because, raw means no boil. And no boil, you're told when you come up in the homebrew world that boiling is a very important part
mhm.
of the homebrew process, mostly to get rid of DMS. But um, from what I've read, your process does get rid of DMS, and I'm not tasting any here. I'm getting a lot of a botanical, kind of like spicy note in there, and like Kevin was saying with the mouthfeel, it's thick. It's got this really like nice chewy kind of palate going on for it. I'm enjoying it. It looks weird, but God, it's just really refreshing. And at 6.7%,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you wouldn't think it was,
Yeah.
you wouldn't think it was that high ABV because it just drinks like a session ale.
I think it could use from a little bit more carb, but I mean, all in all, I always like to compare them a little bit to like Hefeweizen kind of meets
Hefeweizen or maybe a wit beer. Or,
meets a like a New England IPA, hazy
Yeah.
IPA
Yeah.
kind of territory, you know.
So I'm not too familiar with the style either. What kind of yeast do you put on this?
So normally I use Clank, and I'll normally ferment it at 93, 95 degrees
Wow.
Okay.
Fahrenheit.
All right.
This one I did room temp with Lithuanian farmhouse yeast.
Okay.
But so
Is that
we didn't boil, we didn't chill. I pasteurized it, 165 for 15 minutes, better than milk,
right.
and just let it rock and roll.
So when you say Lithuanian farmhouse, are we talking Joe Brew?
Yeah, the Yorvaro
Okay.
from Omega.
Okay. Nice.
Yep,
Mm.
Very cool, man.
I love that yeast.
Yeah, you've been here quite a few times, and I've seen you buy that. I don't think anybody else has.
I
used-
know there's one or two other homebrewers around here that use it, but I use it quite a lot. It's normally in my summer jam beer, which is like Farmhouse Saison. It's the same recipe as this actually. It's just the other one I will boil, I'll
Mhm.
chill, and then I'll let it rock out at room temp to really get all those esters
Mhm.
and all that. You know, really try to push some of the clove notes too. So.
So will it remain the haze, or
So-
does it clear up over time?
It will start to drop out a little bit. I would say probably by like I don't know, week 6, week 8, thereabouts. It's the only problem with them, in my opinion, is a short shelf life. So this is a good month-ish beer, and so I'm excited to see how well it moves on the guest
Yeah,
tap.
yeah.
I'm gonna be pushing it as much as I can
Right.
and
Yeah.
drinking it myself.
Well, a lot of people won't even know that they like a raw ale until they try one.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I remember the first time I tried this is at the country club competition that we were at,
yeah,
and he won, by the way, with this. So
people's
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 choice,
choice.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah. It was good then, and it's good now. So bravo. So what happens after you say about a month shelf life? Does it just start tasting off, or
Well, so it's not off. It just starts to dull out.
okay?
In really by like week 5, it's not a bad beer. It's just a different beer, if that
Mhm.
makes any sense.
Hmm.
But like by week 8, you're kind of like, okay, like I'm over this now. If it lasts that long. It normally doesn't last that long for me.
Right.
The first like 2 or 3 times I brewed it, it stuck around for a little bit, but now I've got enough people hooked on them that I'm like, hey, I've got this raw ale. It needs to disappear. I've got volunteers.
It's the crack
So-
of beer.
Yeah. So cheers, gentlemen.
Cheers.
Absolutely. Try not to break another glass today.
Dean.
Yeah.
So you two got a pretty good camaraderie here and as a team.
Yeah. Yeah.
Always giving the guff to each other and everybody else that walks in the door.
Yeah, we try. Usually the regulars will turn the lights off and lock the door as a little prank. But yeah.
I've had the doors locked on me and the cops threatened to be called too.
Oh, you're taking a little too far though. But yeah, we like to have fun. I mean, it's a great hobby. It's a great community. You really have to have fun. I mean, obviously you get to consume what you make in this hobby, but it's just, keeping it fun, keeping it real.
Right.
And the relationship and the banter that we have, like we carry it on to our customers, and we just have a really good time up here. So
Right.
it's fun.
Made me really feel part of the family and of the crew.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know y'all like to refer to each other as the Yeasty Boys.
The Yeasty Boys.
Yeah, so these are the founding members of the Yeasty Boys. I'm the third member. I'm the offshoot. I'm not claimed yet.
Yeah.
I'll do
You're-
something amazing one day, and then they'll be like, "That's my boy."
Yeah. You're in the club. You're in the
But,
club.
okay, you heard it here first.
We want everybody that walks through the door to feel welcome. We want them to feel like, they're going to have a good time when they walk in. We've got beer on tap. We've got music going.
Yeah.
We've usually got some local home brewer going up on the TV screen here. Like, we want to support our community. We want to make sure that you feel comfortable when you walk through the door and that you're having a good time with your brew. And, we just want to keep that going.
Mhm.
Never want that energy to stop.
Right.
So,
Yeah, it's really great having these tables. One of the ones we're sitting at right now, just so the community can really talk to each other, brainstorm. You'll often see a lot of home brewers in here, even professional brewers that are in the area will stop by just to chat. And sure enough, when someone new comes in to the hobby, or even an experienced brewer comes in, they're engaged in the conversation, and it's overwhelming sometimes, the knowledge that's shared in this room. So,
Yeah.
it's awesome.
Absolutely. I've been on both sides of those conversations for sure. New brewer walks in, no, you don't want to do that. You
Yeah.
want to do this, and
Yeah.
then kind of, I've been brewing for a while, and sometimes I get to hear a couple hints from
Yeah.
some other people about some things I'm lacking.
Absolutely.
But so speaking of the community, so we've got 2 tables here, right? And then you've got a bottle share program over there on the shelf. I've seen a lot of beer be traded across the tables here of people just meeting up like, hey, here's a 6-pack of this that I made and this and that. What's it like to have the community support that you guys have gathered around here? Because, there for about 6 months, the south side of Houston, we lost a homebrew shop,
Right.
Hop and Grape. And, we love those guys to death. They were big proponents of homebrewing in our area and for the Bay Area Masternauts, our club that we all belong to and all that.
Yeah.
What was it like, though, the minute that you announced and you had the keys and go? Like, can you tell us, like, the beginning days of...
Yeah, absolutely. So nerve-wracking for sure. I too was a big supporter of Hop and Grape. Went there every week since the day they opened. Got to know Keith and Mindy really well. It was tragic when they shut down. I'll go into that a little bit more about the community. But whenever they shut down, it was just a a decision that my wife Liz and I made that, let's do this. She knows I'm passionate about it. She knows I've been brewing for a decade and knows that I always like talking about it, like helping people. She would often see people in my garage, like on Saturday, she knows I was brewing. She'd come out and realize, like, not even know there's like 3 or 4 people hanging out in the garage talking about it. So whenever they shut down, we obviously had a serious conversation and decided to do it. A lot of it was, just again the community, making sure that it didn't dissolve. And what I mean by that, and what I say all the time, I've had several conversations about this, but when a homebrew store closes, it hurts the brewing community.
Absolutely.
And you see several clubs, dissolve over it. And Keith and Mindy were great at really helping the Mastronauts, which is a local homebrew store in the area, grow and be successful. So I really owe them a lot to have that, and honored to carry on what they started. But all that said, we were very fortunate to have that. So from day one, we had huge support from the local homebrew club, and I don't know where we would have been without that.
The first 6 months, people were walking through the door saying, "Hey, did you guys, take over for Hop and Grape?" And I mean, in a way, we kind of did. We helped their community find a new place to, revisit their passion. We had people that had not been homebrewing for years.
Yeah.
They started up. People that had been homebrewing for years, they came in here and they were like, well, this is almost like there wasn't a bit of interruption in service, but, it almost felt like we went right back into it. We had the grain room in the back.
Yeah.
Everything that Keith and Minnie were offering, we had. Fresh hops, fresh yeast, all the ingredients on the shelf. It was like we helped them through that time where it seemed like it was times were dark. It was like
It definitely was, yes.
It was like, oh well, I have to go online, and what happens when you go online? It's
I'm
like,
gonna tell you, it was the most terrible time of my life.
Dude,
I got screwed over by Northern Brewer.
Yeah.
I got screwed over by More Beer.
Yeah.
Like all the online things. Like it was weeks of time spent, for waiting for things to ship, and I was just like, you get spoiled when you have a place that you can drive to and get your stuff today.
especially when we're matching the prices for online stores.
Yeah.
It's like, we've got the convenience here to come pick it up from our store. And then, of course, you have even more convenience by picking up fresh hops and yeast. Like, that's a big deal, because if you order online, what's going to happen? If you don't pay the extra $40 for the
Next day
extra ice
shipping,
pack,
yeah.
it's like, oh, you don't get next day shipping. Oh, well, guess what? You're getting room temperature yeast.
Yep.
You don't know how viable it is at that point. So it's a big deal to be able to pick up fresh hops, fresh yeast from a brew store. So I was just happy to see people happy to be able to do that again.
Yeah.
So
And it is a product, that is key, but it's the conversations that people have and the learning experience. So, I mean, I'll tell you, I'll be the first one to tell you, I've learned so much by talking to you, to Dean, to our customers about process. I mean, I'm learning off the customers as well, and it's awesome.
So I remember seeing you post before I ever met you. We followed each other on Facebook there for a little bit, and you were trying to show the differences between like commercial brewing and then like craft brew, and like in an ingredients glass of grains, and you're like, see these 2 grains, this is what you get with major, like commercial brewers, and then like you got these 7 grains and like a craft brew kind of deal. So like you've always been about pushing, knowledge and stuff, and so it's kind of like cool that I've been able to have a little bit of an impact on you with my wild shenanigans, right?
It's great. And I'll send you that image. Maybe you can post it on this video. But yeah, I know which one you're talking about. It's 2 beer bottles, and one is a commercial beer ingredients, and the other one is homebrew. And you see all the, the flaked rice and other things that they're putting in their beers for
Adjuncts.
efficiency, all the adjuncts,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
very little hop. And then you see the one that is craft beer and mostly grain, a lot more hops, very little adjuncts, if any, a lot fresher product. And that's really what the homebrew community is.
That's the key
Yeah,
right there
yeah.
is the freshness and the
Absolutely.
ability to get into the little minute details.
The freedom to be able to do that too.
Yeah.
I mean, I worked at a couple of breweries that
Yeah, you have.
produce quite a bit of beer, and it's the same recipe over and over, and it's it's good beer, but like you just don't have that freedom to be able to introduce new ingredients to try something different.
This is our money maker. Don't mess with our money maker.
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly.
And then unfortunately, they want to get a little more efficient and maybe use a hop extract or
Use cheaper
cut.
products. Yeah.
I mean, I hate to say it, obviously not all breweries do this, but
Sure.
some cut corners, and you taste it. The end product, you can taste the
Yep.
difference,
Yeah.
and it's not what you remember the first time you had that beer, and it's kind of sad at times,
Sure.
So, can I ask a question about
Yeah.
our first homebrew beers that were not homebrew beers, but what is the first beer that you had that you remember introduced you to craft beer?
So, the first beer that I had that introduced me to like craft beer, and I know that this is kind of like one of those like cheap way outs because I guess it's kind of craft. It was the Shinerbach Prickly Pear.
Okay.
Oh, man.
So I would say
The
that it's
original was great.
Yes, it was.
Yes, it was phenomenal, and I remember saying, "Oh my God, I need to learn how to brew."
Mine was the Shiner Ruby Redbird. Like,
Really?
yeah.
How was your inner? Oh,
Yes.
all right.
I didn't drink anything else, but I think maybe Miller Lite before that point. That was
Wow.
like maybe 2014, 2015.
Yeah.
And then my wife brought me a homebrew kit the second I started drinking like Hefeweizens. Sure enough, it was a
Mhm.
Hefeweizen kit.
Nice.
And so I was like, wow, this is better than the Hefeweizen that I normally buy off the shelf.
Yeah.
And it really wasn't that big of a deal to brew it.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So I could do this for the foreseeable future.
That's funny. My first 1 gallon starter kit, which we have here, and we love selling those to new people getting in. It's just such like it's close to me and it's close to Dean as well. Like that's the first intro that we had. But my first beer, other than like Newcastle, Fat Tire, some of the other ones, is Carbach's Weekend Warrior. They're pale ale. It's
Pale ale.
just,
Yeah.
it was when I first had that, I was like, wow, this is great. This is like such a good beer. And
What was that, an IPA?
it was a pale ale, but it was a
Okay.
hoppy pale ale. I don't know if it was a dry hopped pale ale or not, but it's since changed. They actually brought that back this past year, but it wasn't the same, unfortunately. But yeah, that was it. That was the moment that I was like, man, I really want to start getting serious into beers and figure it out.
I think that's my favorite part of homebrewing is that you can recreate anything that you liked back in the day that they no longer produce.
Yeah.
You can recreate something that they produce like across the world that people have to fly over to
Mhm.
Belgium for. Like,
Yeah.
you can make that happen right here at
Right.
Sitta Brew Hub if
Right.
you've got the knowledge, the skill. It's
And
totally
sometimes you got to
possible.
work your way up to some of
Oh,
those
yeah.
those things.
No, you're
you know,
gonna fall flat on your face most of the time.
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
How many dumpers have you had?
at least 3 or 4. In the 8 years that I've been brewing, at least 3
Yeah.
or 4 just gone straight down the drain.
All right, let's go around the table. What was the worst beer that you guys have?
Oh
have
God.
So mine, automatically, right off the top, it was a Pasteurize that I added cherries and strawberries to.
Okay.
The
Okay.
cherries got me some Acetobacter, got into there, and so I tasted it and I was like, it tastes off. I kind of like where it's at.
Yeah.
I knew that I had a wild infection, so I went ahead and bottled it. Let it sit around for 3 weeks. Let it prime, because
Yeah.
back then I was bottle conditioning.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I shot the video for it, and I popped the cap, I poured it, and I took a sip, and I was like, nope. And so,
Did you try a second bottle?
well, yes, I did.
Okay,
And
all right.
later on, I did, and it definitely acetobacter, like straight vinegar, like it's done,
Yeah,
right?
I was
So
gonna say,
so
like apple cider vinegar.
and that's
really
that's a taste that you will never forget, right?
Yeah.
So
almost
those,
like butyric acid. It's almost like baby vomit, like really just
so
super sour, nasty.
so I pulled 3
unpleasant.
bottles. I told my wife, "Hey, I made you this really awesome vinegar. So that stuff's still in the in the pantry, right? It's carbonated vinegar."
Yeah.
And then the rest of those cases of beer that got poured on that fire ant mound.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, yeah. Good drunk ants.
Yeah.
All right.
Well,
What was yours?
so coincidentally enough, it was from a homebrew competition. What we did was we essentially rolled the dice.
What had happened was,
We rolled the dice, and whatever number we landed on, that was the ingredient that we had to end up adding into the brew. It's something that we should actually do at
Yeah.
some
I
point.
love this idea, right?
They're fun.
So
They're
I've
fun.
heard about them, and
Yeah.
I really like that
Yeah.
this idea.
Yeah,
and
you're forced
also
to do something. Yeah.
the like draft pick recipes too.
Yeah.
Like those look interesting. I'm just throwing it out there.
I
So anyways, go ahead.
I ended up rolling a really bad roll, and I did not know what to do with it. Like I was stumped, and I'd been homebrewing for 5 or 6 years at that point, and I was still like, "What am I gonna do?" I ended up with apples and hot peppers, and I was like, "What?" Yes,
As your,
apples and
wow.
hot peppers. So I did everything that I possibly could. I did like essentially like a beer cider kind of blend, and then I maybe threw some habaneros in at the very end. But when I went to go and pop the top on that beer, I mean it was undrinkable. Like I was like, I made 5 gallons of this. What is wrong with me?
Yeah.
I should have done a gallon of this, and I've been smarter with it and not wasted so much money. But
or time.
or
and money,
time,
yeah.
and I was like, oh my god, this is awful. I can't even bring this to the the competition.
Right.
Like, I ended up bringing it to the competition, and people were just like, what the heck is that?
Was that the one that at Hop and Grape? It was the grab bag.
This was
remember
over
that.
at Grain Cellar.
Oh.
It was with the road brewers. So most of the road brewers did this, and a couple of them had good picks, like good ingredients. And mine just seemed to be the oddball out of the group. Like I was asking everyone, like, what do I do with this? And they were like, man, there's not a whole lot you can do.
What'd you do in a former life? You got
Yeah.
that.
So I don't
Yeah.
know. That was a dumper. Like
Yeah.
I dumped 5 gallons into the drain pipe that day, and I
Yeah.
was like, man, that took a lot of work. That took a lot of effort. But
Yeah.
it's just like that sometimes, Like sometimes your best laid plans end up being awful mistakes. Like
Oh, yeah.
you got to dump it, and you shouldn't feel like a failure at that point. I mean, like there's
There's a
an
learning
experiment.
lesson in every
Exactly.
occurrence. Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, maybe you don't put apples and hot peppers and together, just
No.
Should have thrown some bacon in there too.
yeah, no, that was a bad day. So I'm glad that I had that experience. I really feel like we should do something like that.
Well, I like the grab bag, like bring that around.
Yeah.
Like that was what it was. It was basically a set of ingredients, and I don't know, was grain with that or was it just hops?
So there was 2 specialty grains,
Right.
and then you had 2 special ingredients.
Okay.
So it's no secret.
Sounds fun.
It's no secret that I am overly sensitive to ginger.
What?
Okay.
So
Okay.
I open up my bag,
And you got
and
ginger.
there was ginger in there,
Yeah.
and there was
You're like, come on, what
Yeah.
did I do in a former life?
Exactly.
So
yeah.
I shouldn't give you a lemon ginger wheat beer.
no. So my ginger sensitivity is like
Think
if
about it.
I can't pick it out of my food, I have to throw it away.
Oh my
Like,
God.
It's seriously it just ruins the whole experience for eating for me. Like and I can pick it up in the smallest amount. Like my wife gets mad because she'll make like homemade soups
Yeah.
and she'll throw in like a teaspoon in it and,
Yeah.
and I'm like, how much ginger did you add? And she's like,
Wow.
really? Yeah, I like it. And I hate that it is, but also on the other side, like I'm sorry, that's just who I am, right? So I had ginger, and it was the double roasted crystal, and then I think like some wheat or something.
Oh.
What in the
Yeah,
world?
Yeah.
What are you supposed to do with that?
So I had recently stolen some yeast out of some Jester King bottles.
Okay.
Okay.
So I propagated that. So I was like,
Alright.
all right, we're gonna go saison with this.
Yeah.
So I threw in like the smallest amount of ginger, just so I could say I put ginger in this beer. It was at Flame Out, and then I went and I covered it up with a bunch of juniper berries. At Flame Out.
And that wasn't your worst beer you ever made?
No. Everybody loved it. It was
Really?
it was this weird sour. Like it
Wow.
was this weird sour that everybody loved, and it was really good for about 6 months, and then it just fell apart.
Yeah.
And like I dumped it, but that was not my worst beer. That it was the blender wise was. What about yours?
So mine, it's no secret I like barrel aging. So I had acquired a 2-gallon rum barrel that had fresh rum out, so I was excited to do something with it. I sat around and tried to figure out what I would want to do, and it was, see you later. No, so what I decided to do was a strawberry daiquiri beer.
Okay.
So I made a base blonde, decent blonde. I put strawberries on it, for a strawberry blonde, and then I put that.
Don't hate it yet.
Then I put that in the rum barrel,
Yeah.
trying to create, a strawberry daiquiri, and it tasted like vomit. It tasted
man.
like vomit. Like it was the worst beer.
Oh man.
And I actually threw the barrel away. I was like, I just couldn't even think of something else going into that.
I haven't had good experience with strawberry personally.
Yeah, I mean, there's some strawberry Coles, light ales like strawberry Coles or strawberry blonde. It comes through.
Like the
You need a
Shiner
lot.
strawberry blonde to me is like, wow, how they get so much strawberry in there because it's a delicate fruit.
It is.
Look at that pour. That's
a solid pour.
Yeah.
Thank you for the use of the glass too,
Yeah. It's one of my favorites. So don't break it, Dean.
I'm not the klutz here.
Right before this video, I broke a glass. So I'll admit. But that was definitely the worst beer that I've had. I've had other dumpers that just didn't turn out or got infected or just something strange, but not in a while. But that one sticks out.
Dumpers are not fun.
No, they're not.
But it happens. I mean, I had to recently dump a 5-gallon batch of pre-prohibition porter because I ended up with some acetaldehyde, green apple, all the way. And everything else tasted great. The molasses was coming through really nice, but it was just that note of green apple that was like, okay, this isn't going to do well with the judges. So
supposedly, if you give it long enough, it'll clean up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that one beer you brewed up here, where you ended up using the eyedropper to test the beer, but the eyedropper you used was the same eyedropper I used to input lactic acid into beers, into the water.
So I brewed a Piwo Grodzicki, right?
Can you say that one more time with a serious face?
A Piwo Grodzicki. Okay, and now this is a lighter ABV German-style smoked ale. And it's a fantastic beer.
Yeah.
Live Oak puts one out every year. It's awesome. I wanted to do one and thought I had the skills, but unfortunately grabbed the wrong pipette and misgauged my acidity level. I thought I was going to end up around 5.2, somewhere around there.
pH, yeah.
I grabbed the wrong pipette, which was used for lactic acid extraction, and ended up with,
Why is it so sour?
I was like, why? Wait, hold on. The pH is saying that it's like, okay, well, this is just totally wrong. Let me just dump this whole thing. I dumped it.
The whole batch.
And I was like, wait a second. And this was the next day. I was like, wait a second. I used that pipette. Had I used a regular pipette that had not been exposed to lactic acid, I would have seen that I was right on the money with my acidity levels. And it would have been a perfect batch.
Yeah. True story.
Mistakes happen.
You're always
They do.
learning.
Mistakes happen.
You're always
Yeah.
learning.
Absolutely. That's honestly like people come in here with problems, and we try to propose solutions as best we can.
Right.
Mhm.
Everybody's situation is different. That's the
Yeah.
best thing about homebrewing. It's like your problem is unique to you. Like your equipment, your water,
Efficiency.
your mash profile, your
Yeah.
efficiency, like it's all unique to you. And I think that's the cool part about it is like it's almost like a mystery,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
that you have to solve. We can kind of help you along and tell you, hey, maybe
Generally.
check your pH,
Yeah.
maybe check your mash pH. Maybe that's why you didn't get that high of an efficiency.
Yeah.
Did you aerate well? Is maybe
Yeah.
your yeast just needs more oxygen. Like,
Did you mash it at the right temp? You know,
Right.
just a lot of different things that go into it that can easily
beers
throw
get messed
beer off.
up.
Yeah,
Beers get messed up.
Yeah.
You just have to kind of know where you messed up to
hmm
fix it. Like,
and again, yes, please, thank you. And again, that's the cool part about being able to walk into the store is talking about it and figuring out like just having conversations versus looking up online. You can find a lot of information online. It can be true, it can not be true. You know, we might not know every single answer, but we like to figure it out with you guys.
oh, yes, sir. Thank you.
Oh, round of beers going around.
Forums
yeah.
are great for figuring out a problem with your homebrew. Again, the problem is this problem is unique to you. So take those solutions with a grain of salt. Come to us.
Sorry.
Thank you,
Sorry.
sir.
Yep.
Come to us and we'll kind of like point you in the right direction. But really, at the end of the day, I can't tell you how many times people walked in here and asked, hey, what's going on with my CO2 rig? Why am I not pushing beer the right way? It's like, okay, well, how many feet of tubing are you using from your keg to your outlet, your
Yeah.
faucet?
Right.
Oh, like 2 feet. Like, what?
Yeah.
You know, okay, well, you need to be at least using a minimum of 6 feet of tubing for any beer style, at least 6 feet. Like,
Yeah.
but even still, you're pushing out Belgians, you're gonna need like 12 feet of tubing, right? Like,
It's just better to bottle condition those.
well, yeah,
It really is.
I don't know. Like, you're gonna come in here, you're gonna have a problem, or you'll call me on the phone, you'll have a problem, and I'll give you general guidelines and tell you kind of how to fix it, but it's gonna take a little bit more than that, and we're gonna try to help you through that.
Yeah.
Because we don't want you to, at the end of the day, feel like a failure. Like,
Mhm.
we want you to feel successful with your home brews. So,
Yeah.
I've got actually I have some subscriber and user questions that
Okay.
that were
Okay.
proposed.
Yeah.
okay.
So the first one here is let's see here. Roughly how many people who buy a starter kit come back and stick with the hobby opposed to the guy who comes in and buys a mini brewery kit on his first visit?
So we have a fairly new customer who's getting into it. I can't remember his name. It might not be appropriate to call him out on here.
I'd rather
But
not.
yeah,
Yeah,
so,
just cause, you know.
yeah, no, but he came in. He started with mead, and then he bought a 1 gallon kit here recently. But he's come back just about every week and started getting into the hobby more and more. Wears a bandana. I'll say that so Dean knows who I'm talking
I
about.
know exactly what you're talking
Yeah, cool
Yeah.
guy. But yeah, you could tell like he saw that fermentation happen. He saw the yeast active and running around. Same thing as me, and why it's so like close to me is like when I saw that yeast like running in that fermenter and air coming off of it, or now CO2. I didn't really know then, but
It was
I was,
magic.
yeah, it really was like how the hell is this happening? Like I'm not stirring it, I'm not doing anything, but all this is happening inside this bottle. And I could see that in them. I can see that excitement in them. And going back to your question about how many return, yeah, we get some people who buy a kit and not return or buy it as a gift for someone else, but I'd probably say half the people will come back and started asking for a little bit more. Same as Dean and I, and probably you, Matt. Like you started off with a small kit too, and got more and more into it.
No, I actually started off with a 5-gallon Northern Brewer kit.
Damn.
Extract.
Okay.
Reject.
No, man. So my first ferment was it was supposed to be like a peach brandy wine type of deal.
Okay.
Used a lot of real peaches,
Nice.
RO water, threw some yeast at it.
Mhm.
It was some handwritten recipe that
Yeah.
had gone through 2 or 3 people.
Yeah.
So I did something wrong. It tasted a lot like prison wine. And then I had
Have you had that?
no, but I would imagine that's what it tastes like, right? Like it was bad. It was bad. Like every like bad off note that you could think of, like it had it. Like looking back, like that was terrible. Like and we didn't keep it around. Like it was like jet fuel, right?
Mhm.
You know. So then at that point in time, I had the Shiner Bock prickly pear, and I was like, did some research, and it looked like beer was approachable. There was a lot of support for beer back in 2015, 2016,
Yeah.
about when I started getting into it.
Most of us.
Yeah, and so got the Northern Brewer kit, just bit off on it, and then I just started doing a couple extracts like every month or two. Like I wasn't brewing a lot. Like maybe every 3 months I had a new brew on. Well, I had the 1 bucket fermenter and things like that, right? And so then we bought the house, and then so I had done 2 extract kits at the house, and I was just like, I have this huge yard. I'm switching to all grain. I'm tired of being hot in the kitchen. I'll be hot outside, right? And
Right.
like I've never looked back since then. Like, and so like every once in a while, about once twice a year I do an extract kit inside, like on a rainy day or something like that. But like for the
Even
most,
still, like today?
yeah,
Yeah. Cool.
yeah.
That's cool.
Every once in a while.
Right.
And but those are extract kits that I'm not buying from someone. I put my own extract kit together. Like I need these 2, liquid malts extracts, and then these specialty grains, these hops or whatever,
And then let's talk about that for a second. So, extract versus all grain. You can definitely do more with all grain, but when I first started brewing,
Express more.
yeah,
Great.
yeah, exactly. But when I first got into brewing, I used to go to DeFalco's, which was a staple in Houston, which unfortunately it's no longer around. But
that was a long ass drive.
well, yeah, they had a Clear Lake one here locally, so it was right around the corner.
Not when I got into it.
No, it was there for a little while. But anyways, the guy told me that it doesn't quite matter when you do partial mash, which is concentrate and some grain, versus all grain. And he flat out told me I have won awards with partial mash, recipes, and that was eye opening to me because I'm
There's
thinking
a whole book about it.
Yeah, I'm thinking, oh man, you got to be all grain to really brew really good beer. It's like, no, it's actually not the case. You can make great beer with partial mash, and really get into it and dial it in. But a lot of it has to do with the fermentation. After what you do with the boil and everything, which is obviously the part of making beer.
Right, it's almost like an art form.
Yeah.
I think back to the original question of how many folks pick it up or
we kind of went all around
or drop off. It's like there are some people that come in here who are interested in homebrewing, and maybe they saw it in a TikTok video, or maybe they had it from a buddy's house or something like that, and they're like, oh, this is cool, oh, you made your own beer, this is awesome. Most of the time people are not going to, they'll come in here, they'll get a recipe, they'll do it like, oh, that was a one-time thing. But there are people who are out there like us who are passionate from day one.
Yeah.
I tell every home brewer that I ever see on like Facebook, the Facebook groups that I'm part of, I did my first homebrew. Congratulations, welcome to the addiction.
Yeah.
Because like if you go back for a second or third brew,
right.
dude,
You're
you're
hooked.
done. You're
Yeah.
done.
hooked.
Yeah.
You're hooked because
You start walking through the
you
store
wanna
and being
make
like, I can ferment that, I can ferment that.
you want to make it better, and you want to get it to the point to where it's almost like an expression of yourself. Like you want to make it like an art form. You want to get it to the point to where you set a bottle down on the table and you're like, try this, and you watch people's faces light up. Like you want that, right?
Which goes into the bottle shares, the guest taps, you want people to
The
taste
connectivity
it.
of bringing everybody together and saying, look what I did. This is,
It's like baking a cake. Like when you have a great cake, for a bakery, like you want to share it. You want people to say, damn, that's good.
Yeah. And not everybody is meant for that. Like some people just want to do it one time just to say that they did it. And some people want to do it for a career. Like people's careers start right here at a homebrew shop. They get into it and they're like, damn, this is so fulfilling. I want to do this for the rest of my life. Like
Brock at St. Arnold's, he's a home brewer, and I heard couple interviews and podcasts with him that he used to take around his beer to parties and like say, hey, what do you think of this, this, and this, and that's how the lawnmower actually their coal came around, and homebrewing, and he grew up at DeFalco's, and look, he's got the biggest independently owned brewery in Houston, in the area, probably the state, so. It's so cool to see that, and we want to grow that. We want to promote that.
Yeah, be a little part in supporting cheerleader kind of in the background.
Yeah,
exactly.
And hopefully, if they open a brewery, we get discounts.
Right. Yeah.
Shit, man, everybody that comes through here, like, you want a medal because you bought your grains through here. Like, dude, we're ecstatic about that.
Yeah.
Truly, like, we want to see everybody that comes through here to grab their grains, succeed, make medals, eventually start their own brewery. Hell, even start like a nationwide movement of like, hey, let's pick craft beer back up. Because let's be honest, craft beer right now not doing so great.
Yeah, it's a weird spot.
It's a weird spot.
And you notice that they left out, people that come here and buy their supplies here that have YouTube channels. Like they don't care about those people.
No, we do.
We definitely do.
We absolutely do.
So it's like, I don't know, man. We're supporting everybody's journey. We understand that there's people that'll come here one time and never go back to it again because maybe they realize, oh, this is a little harder than I thought it was going to be.
Sure.
But there are people out there who have the patience to go through something like this and perfect something like what we got on the table right here.
There was a story that Keith and Mindy told me, and there was a guy, he would come in and he would buy a whole year's worth of supply. So like grains. He would buy a couple sacks of grains from them, like 2-3 sacks of grains, right?
Like a prepper? A brewing prepper?
Well, hold on, wait. So he would buy just a couple packs of yeast.
Yeah.
And then like an enormous amount of hops. He only brewed one beer. And he reused the yeast. He knew that he could get so many ferments out of that
like
yeast.
10 generations.
I don't think he pushed it that far from what they said.
Oh, okay.
But he knew that and so he was like, I'll only brew 5 times a year or something like that. Like so, and like, do you have anybody that comes in here like that you know of?
Dude, everybody's doing 4th, 5th, 6th generation yeast right now because okay, like truthfully, we're not gonna lie to you, yeast prices have gone through the roof in the past couple of years, and so people are trying to find ways to
minimize the cost.
Exactly. So what they're doing is they're going to take similar styles and going to pitch on yeast cakes that utilize that same yeast. So they're going to do multiple generations. I had a guy come in here the other day who told me that he did a 3rd generation, I think Stefan from Imperial, and it took off like that.
Yeah,
we
trained it up to do something like that.
I've gotten about 4, and then I called it quits.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have another customer that started off with a single and went to a double and went to a triple and went to a quad. But like building it up, and it's probably to the quad. You probably need to.
You're done. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's
That yeast has seen some shit.
Yeah.
I've seen
Language,
Yeah.
PG here. No, it really has.
I've had a couple beers now.
Yeah.
And our beloved Backfish, which was around this area that unfortunately closed.
Yeah.
I talked to Chris early on and as brewing, and I went fortunate enough to go brew with him in this 30-barrel brew house, which is massive.
Yeah.
But he repitched yeast, and he taught me that it's okay to do as you build up, but once you get to a really big beer like his one of his signature beers was Defying Gravity, which is a high ABV. Like once it hits that point, it's done. Like you stress that yeast, you've done so much to it. It's time to dump at that point. But it's interesting repitching and.
Have you ever repitched on
Oh,
top
yeah.
of a yeast cake?
Yeah, I've done it a couple times here at the store. So we have a little brewery at the store. But I've repitched before. I've pulled it in a sanitizer, kept it for about a week or so, and just pitched it back on. I've done it a few ways.
A week.
Yeah. I used to wash it. I used to wash it with distilled water.
Wash it.
And mason jars. Yeah. So, put some Dawn in there and wash it.
Oh,
but,
come on.
It's good enough for those baby ducks, right?
Yeah. I've done that a few times, but I just said screw it. I don't want to mess with it, and end up just buying fresh packs and yeast. But it can be done. I mean, it's up there.
So this Yavaro yeast, I poured some out of my bucket, bucket fermenter into a mason jar, stuck it off in the back of the refrigerator. A year later, pulled it out, just pitched it,
Wow.
took off.
That's what they were drinking.
No, not
Okay.
today. No,
All
no.
right.
I used because it was going on the guest tab. I decided to do
Fresh.
some
Yeah.
preparations to doll it up. Right?
Man, I'm really excited to see people's reaction drinking this beer.
Yeah.
Like it's.
I mean,
it's
if they
unique.
get it,
Like,
because we're probably going to drink most of it tonight.
Right.
Honestly, I thought the same thing. We're going to float this keg today.
So full disclosure, it was a 5-gallon tap or keg. When I kegged it, I probably brought it here with about 4 gallons in it.
I didn't actually pick it up. Is it?
It was.
Sure? Are we sure? It's
I mean, I
not
carried it all the
halfway
way
empty?
from his Bronco to the
Okay.
door. It was pretty heavy.
It was about 4 gallons,
Yeah.
like because
It was a pretty hefty keg.
Yeah.
I had 3 pints off of it, and then I bottled 8.
Yeah.
So
All right. Okay. Yeah.
There's quite a bit in there. Now,
Thank you for being the guest. of
yes, thanks for donating
And
this.
this
beer.
is this is a great beer, man. It really is.
So another user question that I have here is with so many local homebrew stores closing, how have you had to try to adapt to stay open as long as possible?
Yeah. No, that's a great question. It's something that runs through my mind all the time.
Every day, I'm sure.
Every day. So we started off. I mean, we're a very small footprint. Found a place right in South Houston. It's right off freeway, just 2 minutes off the freeway. Rent is
0.8 miles off the
0.8 miles, which is 2 minutes. if you catch that light by the fire station. No, so I mean, I was trying to catch something off the freeway just to make sure that it was easy if you're driving from Humble, Woodlands, just which are north side of Houston, which we're south side. But it's keeping costs down. It's really keeping costs down. With rent and everything else, like. It's not the most beautiful store. It's not like you're going into, just a Target or Walmart. I say Walmart is beautiful.
Walmart's.
Well, they're pretty organized up in there, so.
I mean, it's a nice store, but it's not an arm and a leg for rent. So that's key for sure. We are constantly staying competitive on pricing, which sounds like it's not in our favor, but it actually is. Staying close to what you can find online and keeping up with that, so that we're not overcharging or undercharging. That's actually either way, it's
keeping
beneficial.
you honest,
keeping us honest
to some extent.
Right. But it really is about just keeping costs under control. It's first business I've owned, and I'm on top of it, and I'm making sure that bills are paid, bills, they're heading in the right direction, not falling in debt, which can happen easily.
Yeah.
So I'm avoiding that, and I'm putting a lot of personal time and investment into it, just to keep it going. This is a passion of mine. I truly enjoy working with all the customers and the clients that come in. And Dean's awesome. He's here just about pretty much every hour that we're open, and helping the clients. And he shares that passion too. So
Something that Sunday.
Sunday. So I guess it's officially a way to announce. But we are going to start opening on Sundays as well. So,
Okay.
and that's going to be pretty exciting. And
We were 5 days a week. We're now 6.
Yeah.
Like, it's
yeah,
just another way to help out our fellow homebrewers.
yeah,
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I don't know, man.
We're doing well. We're the clientele's growing, which is great. And
Yeah.
it's again, I owe a lot of thanks to the Hop and Grape for building that community. I was able to do really well starting off because of that and the local support, and it's grown since then. I'd probably say we get 15, 20 new faces in every week, and
Yeah.
it's wild. It's wild. Like I think you said we had almost 700 customers in our system.
Yep.
Which
Wow.
is just pretty awesome. Yeah.
So the community and so you're pulling from a lot of different revenue or streams, right?
Yeah.
So you have the past hop and grape stuff. You've got the homebrew clubs, most around here, like
Yeah.
the 2 or 3 that are around here. So the very like symbiotic connections between things. Where do you go from here? Like, how do you get bigger? Like, what are the things and the focuses of Sitta
Yeah.
Brew Hub to kind of like stay relevant in the community, pull more of the community in? And
Yeah, we're. I mean, we've talked about this pretty early on. We want to do a little bit more, extend our services, everything from, cleaning your kegerator, or redoing the lines, or getting into restaurant businesses where we clean their lines. That's an avenue that we're looking at to kind of branch out a little bit. Love to do a tap room, and eventually, yeah, love to do a brewery.
I mean, we're talking delivery at some point.
Delivery as well.
I've got customers that are coming all the way from Spring
yeah,
who are like, "Hey, man, I love you guys, but
That's
I hate driving down
Yep.
here," and I feel for them. So it's like, eventually we're gonna have some kind of a
relay system
online
or something.
storefront where you can order it. It will be delivered to you, but that's down the pipeline.
Right.
So
Right. And
that's definitely gonna help out.
yeah.
So
We don't have any type of online ordering mechanism at the moment.
You can place an order online for pickup, but you can't.
You can email us.
Yeah.
You can do this, but a shopping cart and that whole experience is not
email it;
developed
it'll
yet.
be ready for you by the
Yeah.
time you get here, kind
It
of
will.
thing.
Yeah.
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 I'm an avid.
I check the email every morning, man.
Yeah.
Every morning.
I like
We've
to
got-
leave little special messages. I feel like they go.
You do that too?
Yeah.
Okay. All
I
right.
like
I don't-
lasting evil laughter and stuff, and like I walk in and Dean's like, "Your shit's on the table. Get down." Yeah.
Well, so okay. So back to the question that you asked.
What was the original question?
How we're gonna
Expand.
expand.
Right.
So traditionally at homebrew shops, there have been classes offered.
Yeah.
You know, and those tend to help folks who are completely brand new to the hobby.
Yeah.
Sure.
Regardless of what fermentable they're trying to do, be it beer, mead, cider, wine, there is a class for them. Now, the thing that we've run into is we've had a lack of, I guess, like engagement, right? So what we're going to do is expand our online presence eventually to have those I guess, like instructional videos, but at the same time, we're also going to offer in-person classes
Tutorials.
for those like
Right.
101, like mead 101, cider 101 kind of things, and then maybe some advanced, modules on those kinds of things. So that's going to help out. That's going to help us grow our community, as well as, just engaging with people who are not particularly in our area. So, like I said, we've got people out there in Spring, people out there in like Cleveland, Roman Forest, Humboldt area.
North Houston.
They lost their homebrew shop a while back. I mean, Grain Cellar was their.
Preston was awesome.
Preston was great, you know. Like, so we wanna get those folks involved, and get them here. So
in some way or another.
Right.
Yeah.
I got you.
Yeah, so I mean the education is big. You know, I'm following. There's a new homebrew store in San Antonio called Brew City. They've been doing really well on the education side of it, and holding cider classes, mead classes, beer classes, and a bunch of different other areas, and want to grow more into that area if the interest is there. Currently, what we have right now is a beer brewing experience, which is like a package you buy, and 4 to 6 people come in the store, they brew on our system here. And at that point, I'll ferment it, I'll take care of it, and I'll can it, and you get basically a bunch of canned beers of what you had or what you brewed. So, but we're still working on doing some kind of education. I think that's key, because that in itself, it's one thing coming in and buying a 1-gallon brew kit and following the instructions, but knowing why that yeast is doing what it's
churning.
doing. It's eating sugars and pooping out alcohol, basically. So
I always like to kind of like equate that kind of stuff to like, okay, so like either you're a button pusher because that's what you're supposed to do, or you want to know why you push that button, what it does, right? And so like, if you're just push the button, it's just magic, right? Right. It just takes off. Like it's just magic. If you push the button and you want to find out, then that's when you really start getting into all the fine tunings of, the air that goes into the wort.
The water. Water
exactly.
chemistry is big.
Yeah.
I mean.
What kind of water you're using? What,
I think the biggest
your mash
problem
temperature, like the sugars, are they fermentable or are they unfermentable?
The biggest problem that homebrewers run into, first-time homebrewers run into, is, hey, why did my yeast stall? Why is my beer not going to get to final gravity like I wanted it to? Well, did you aerate? Did you pitch yeast nutrient? Did you pitch yeast energizer? What kind of water did you use? I have so many people coming in that say, oh, I just use my tap water because I've been told that that's fine. But it's like, is it? No, not really.
Well,
it requires a certain amount of...
It's so with beginners, and I'm sure you guys gotta kind of treat it like with children's gloves a little bit, and even like somebody comes in with a beer, it's like their first couple beers, like you don't want to break their spirits too bad, right?
No, I tell people that use tap water, like, hey man, like maybe that helps you create your first couple of beers, but like if you really want to take your beer to the next level, you gotta use
spring water or something.
Spring water.
Try spring water. Try RO water in these salts.
Yep. And that's honestly just what I want to push out there to the people. Like, if you want quality products, if you don't want to be disappointed by your first brew, make sure that you're not using subpar products. That's why you got to come to us. That's why you got to come to our Farm Boy. I mean, like, you've got to go there to get things. I had a guy that came in to me the other day who was using bread yeast for wine. And I was like, man, what are you doing? Like, that's not going to get you where you want to be. Like, so there's a lot of, there's knowledge out there, but then there's the opposite of knowledge. There's like,
you got to unlearn some stuff sometimes.
That's in life, though.
Exactly, but I mean, is it really any different though?
I want to circle back to what he just said. I mean, like, or a comment he made about Farm Boy, which is another homebrew store in the Houston area. They we support them.
Yeah, there's only two of us
there's-
out here.
Yeah, there's only two in Houston right now. Man, we really we know that when a homebrew store closes, the community hurts.
Yeah.
We know that. We saw it with Hop and Great closing. We saw it with the Falco's closing, which there's a brew club associated to them that has really slowed down as far as being involved. Still established, but no, I mean it's like we want to support the community, and you are so competitive, right? Like we don't look at it like that. We're like,
no, that rivalry does not exist.
exactly.
We support them
Yeah,
for sure.
Exactly.
yeah, we want them to be successful.
If
we want
if
everybody to be
It's
successful.
not competition when,
Yeah.
when everybody's rising each
Yeah.
other up.
they
Right?
call us, I've had a couple of calls
Yeah.
from them saying, "Hey, we don't have this. Do you have
And
this?"
vice versa. Yeah,
And vice
it's like-
versa.
Yeah, so we have to support each other because if either one of us were to shut down, that just hurts the brewing community, and
Agreed.
it sucks. So yeah, I just want to circle back on that. Is we're not afraid to say other people, other breweries, or another. Can't speak. You've given me too many beers. We're not afraid to talk about other homebrew stores in the area because we're not competitive. Like we don't. It's
Well,
not a
they're
competitive
I mean,
thing.
at the end of the day, they're doing the same thing that we are.
Yeah.
They want people to succeed just like we
Yeah.
do. So
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. So you're.
So I got you converted over to not boiling your wort.
Good, it's good, man.
This is fantastic,
Yeah,
honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, you're essentially pasteurizing at what you say 165?
One
Yeah, can you walk through
Yeah.
the process just real quick?
Yeah, raw ale.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
Raw.
I mean, I mash in, right?
Okay.
While I'm mashing in, I go do a hop tea. That's a whole nother subject, right?
So hop tea is necessary because he
grab my
can't
boot?
boil
Did you grab my boot?
because he can't boil the hops. So he
Yeah.
has to make a hop tea, so he adds it in.
this isn't the
Oh,
only
shit.
way. This isn't the only way to do
Never
raw
even
ale.
thought about the hops. Like,
This
Okay.
isn't the only way to do raw ale,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
okay.
But this is the way I do it.
yeah.
So while I'm mashing in, I go do my hop tea.
Okay.
So my hop additions are going to be in like 2 quarts of water,
Mhm.
and for the same time amount. So if I have a 60-minute addition, it goes in 60 minutes, 30-minute addition, whatever the case may be. I'll normally throw my yeast nutrient in there. The only boil addition that I leave out that I normally throw in is a Warflock tablet.
Okay.
I mean, because I don't think it's going to do that, really. I mean,
Rollflock? I mean,
Yeah.
not for this.
Yeah.
I mean,
not
look
for
at
this
that.
thick boy, right? But so about the time that that's done, I'm finishing up with my mash. So because I brew in a bag, I'll take my hop tea and I'll just put it in with my mash. I'll stir it up, then I'll pull my hop bag out, and then I run it up to 165. The research that I've done is DMS normally starts forming at about 170-ish. I have read recently that it's like sometimes 140 or
Yep.
so,
Yeah.
depending on like what all malt you're using. I'm using Belgian Pilsner malt.
Yeah, some malts have
So-
more SMS.
Right.
You know,
Right, so maybe the wheat and the rye are kind of
SMM
counteracting
or
that.
something like that. It's the precursor essentially to DMS.
So,
What?
so I pull my carry bag out.
What?
I thought you were going sexual there for a
Oh, no.
So,
PG.
pull,
PG.
pull my grains out, 165. I put my lid on, and then at that point it's pasteurized. I let it come down, and I no chill it to room temp on this one. Normally,
Yeah.
like I said, it's 93, 95, so it doesn't take that long to pitch yeast on it, and then let it rock and roll. You know.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, I didn't realize the whole hop tea on the side to mix it all together. Like,
Yeah, I
that's,
should-
that's
It's almost
insane,
like
yeah.
more work
Yeah.
is necessary
Not
to
necessarily,
get it going.
But well, so in some points there's more work, some points there's less work. I shave about an hour and a half off my brew day.
Okay.
Wow.
So, about 2 hours, I'm done.
Total.
Total.
Even follow up the next day after no chill.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
okay. So I guess I haven't accounted for that, like cleaning my kettle and all that after
Yeah.
that, right? So there is still some work to be done
Yeah.
after
Okay.
pasteurization, right? But I say
It creates a convenience for you.
it does. Yeah,
Yeah.
it does in this fast fast-paced lifestyle.
Right.
Yeah.
Those of us with children and
Yeah.
you know.
YouTube channels,
Yeah.
brew stores.
Yeah. All that.
Yeah.
You got
Real
any more
job.
questions? These have been some good questions.
No, so
Yeah.
I don't really have any questions. I do have a statement. So Sitta Brew Hub would be pretty awesome if they only carried.
Oh, what?
It's always the little joke. I can't believe you don't have.
Oh yeah.
It took me a minute. The very first time he came in here, he's like, "What do you mean you don't have this?" Like, he lays the thickest guilt trip on. Listen to me. He lays the thickest guilt trip.
Thick.
Yeah. Thick. As thick as this raw ale that's
Well,
empty on.
I'm the only one
Yeah.
apparently that has any left.
I
You
have
need
a
to catch
lid.
up. Nah. So, again, we like to have a little banter between customers and that.
Thanks.
So we just like to have fun. It's,
Every
really
time.
do.
I always
Yeah.
find something. I can't believe y'all don't have.
it
And normally it's
yeah.
normally it's always just off the.
Yeah.
I didn't do any research or anything before I came in here. I was like,
What do you mean you don't have this
Yeah.
grain?
yeah.
But we appreciate you, man. Like it's
Well, I appreciate you guys opening up the store and kind of
yeah.
having a place to call home. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
I really enjoy everything. So I guess in closing, really, if you have a local homebrew store, please make sure that you go take care of those people. You know, they're there for you. And if you're running into one that's really not really receptive to the changes and the things that need to happen, surely there's another alternative, right? And when it really boils down to, though, is your $100 bill is probably going to mean more to your local homebrew store than it will to places like Amazon and your online stores. So you got to take care of these people so they can help take care of you. With all that said, I really thank each and every one of you for tuning into this. If you have the opportunity and you're in the South Houston area, please go check out Sitta Brew Hub. Swing by, like I said, the month of September, while it's still on tap, before Dean and Kevin drink it all, my raw
Guilty.
ale will be on tap. And I hope that everybody finally gets a chance to experience this wonderful beer.
Yeah.
Cheers, guys.
Yeah.
Cheers.
I have one closing comment I'd like
Okay.
to add.
Okay.
Even though we're cheersing.
This isn't
Uh,
going to be
Is it empty glasses?
PG, is it?
No, of course it is. The closing
Yeah,
comment.
we're fixing to fill these.
Yeah, we are. But with that said, my closing comment is a quote from my favorite movie, Forrest Gump. I've got to pee.
Jesus Christ.
Gotta jot down how many times we say sorry, Pat. All right, 3, 2, 1, serious mode. Hi, I'm Kevin.
All right, we ready?
Yeah.
Sure.